So we got the darkest kids TV show ever made. Now I don't know, they talking about Teletubbies or something. My boy Jeremiah sent me this to react to, you feel me? So I'm about to react to this shit. So get y'all snack, everything y'all need, and they get it. Whoa! This egg contain what? Topic. Bro, can I react to this? It's a side. It's a side. If y'all know what I'm talking about. And the burst in this bitch too.
It's the winter of 1985. A family living in a remote region of the Philippines receives a package at their door, which contained a single VHS tape and a note stating that the contents were for the children of the house. And so, the kids were gathered up one by one and sat in front of the television, where the tape began to play, introducing them to a brand new show called
Life with Grandpa.
Life with Grandpa.
This was the experience for hundreds of kids across the world, made to watch a seemingly harmless puppet show about a grandpa and his family, with most of the young viewers loving it, gladly watching this episode and the many others that would be sent later on, over and over again, blissfully unaware that what they were being shown would someday come to be known as one of the most disturbing rabbit holes in the history of children's media. This is the story of Life with Grandpa, the darkest kids show ever made.
Nothing can harm you when Jesus is near.
Dad, I don't want you to leave.
Can I persuade you to subscribe?
Before we dive any further down this rabbit hole, I want to first thank today's video sponsor.
Alright, Sally, if you ain't paying me, I don't want to hear it, bro. You gotta pay me some millions so I could let it play. But you ain't paying me no millions, so you gotta skip that, bro. You gotta pay me some millions.
Won't you come along?
Ain't that right, Sam?
This is Life with Grandpa, a straight-to-VHS show made for children created sometime in the mid-80s. The program followed a family of humanoid puppets on their journey to teach the audience lessons loosely based on Christianity, through the use of stories, skits, and songs, acting as a guide for children to live their best possible lives for Jesus.
We're continuing with some more lessons about prayer. Are you all ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Lord. Such sweethearts.
The show was set up in an episodic fashion, never following any main overarching storyline, and instead, each installment would be composed of a series of shorter segments, recounting past experiences from this family, with an occasional musical number thrown in here and there.
We don't have a sad God. We have a happy God who wants us to be happy too.
Unsurprisingly, the main character of the crew was Grandpa, who acted as the show's host,
This
often
nigga
being the
look
one to
creepy
teach
as
the
hell.
episode's central messages not only to his on-screen family, but to all the kids watching at home.
But it's my kite.
But wouldn't you like to pray that some poor little boy who doesn't have so many toys and blessings as you do will find your kite?
Yes, Grandpa.
As he was made to be a wise, almost religious-like figure, whose words were never questioned. Often seen by his side was his wife, Mother Maria, though for as often as she's shown, she rarely has much to say.
Yes, thank the Lord for such a good, sweet boy.
Typically only chiming in when she's reiterating Grandpa's messages to the children. And of the children, there was Davida, Techi, and Davidito, with the latter being one of the show's central figures, landing right next to or
This nigga name is what? Touchy.
Grandpa's messages to the children. And of the children, there was Davida, Techi, and Davidito.
Techi.
with
Oh,
the
I
latter
thought they
being
said
one of the show's
Touchy.
central
What the
figures,
hell?
landing right next to or potentially even ahead of Grandpa in terms of screen time.
Okay, well,
as
this
Davidito
nigga like
often
you,
got
bro. I ain't gonna.
directly to the audience.
You scared already.
Hello,
Nigga, ain't nobody scared.
Children, would
Big
you like to hear some exciting prayer adventures? This first story happened when I was very small.
And though it's never outright stated, it's clear that Davidito was put on a pedestal, with the child often getting special
Davidito, whatever
treatment
the
and
nigga
being
name. That's
showered in
you, kid.
gifts, as the family clearly seemed to favor him.
Thank you, Uncle Al.
It's called a kite.
We want to give you a little surprise because you were such a good witness.
This brand new tape recorder is for you.
Thank you, Jesus.
With there never being an explanation as to why. This is the core group of Life with Grandpa, with the only other reoccurring characters being Aunt Sarah and Uncle Elf, a couple that was often shown around the house helping look after the kids. And despite this looking like something pulled straight from the depths of the uncanny valley, the content within the show didn't really seem all that troublesome. In fact, it appeared fairly normal, and not too unlike the many other low-budget religious shows of the time, highlighting themes like obedience.
Nothing short of right is right.
Yes, so the right thing is...
To obey.
Sharing.
Good morning, Davida. I have a surprise for you. Oh, can I see it? I would like to share my cars with you. Which ones do you like?
And loving everyone.
That's really sweet of you, David. Thank you for that nice, generous present.
What present?
That nice kiss. A kiss makes a real beautiful gift or present.
Though mixed within these fairly standard teachings, you'll find other moments that are far more unusual.
I don't know, bro.
Don't run down that gravel hill. Davida! Oh, Davida.
She's bleeding, and her cut is all covered with dirt.
And I don't even have a tissue to wipe it with. I'll just have to lick it clean and spit out the dirt.
The show
What this
features a
diddy
lot of
ass show,
strange
bro? Hell
underlying
no. We
themes
know.
that seem to have
We not finna watch this shit, but hold on. Nigga, what? Bro, what did you ask me to react to, my boy? This is some diddy ass show, bro.
nothing to do with religion, or at least not the conventional beliefs of Christianity, with one of the more obvious being its unprompted disdain for doctors.
We'll have to really pray that there won't be a scar.
Soon afterwards, there was no
This
sign
is
at all
Caleb.
of the deep gash on Davida's forehead. Surely a doctor would have stitched it, but our God is still a God of miracles. Praise the Lord.
As well as its constant endorsement of spanking.
Jesus spanks us because he loves us and wants us to obey and be good.
We're really sorry. So if the Lord should spank you a little bit or correct you, it's for your own good. It's because he loves you and wants you to be good and obey.
And while these are certainly strange, by far the most glaring indication that Life with Grandpa wasn't just your typical kids show came from the program's stance on women, with the first major example coming from a song made for the young girls watching on.
So do the dishes and clean the floor, and God can show us something more. I'm ready for any job at all, whether it's great or whether it's small. I'm ready to go, ready to stay, ready my place to fill. Ready for service, lowly or great, ready to do God's will.
The message behind this song is clear. If you're a woman, then it's your job to cook, clean, and have babies. And that's about it, as this is God's will and your sole purpose for existing. And while this ideology was certainly not as controversial at the time, the show took it even further, as it hammered home this idea to all the children watching on by repeating one line at the end over and over again.
Trust and obey, for there's no other way. Trust and obey, for there's no other way. Trust and obey, for there's no other way.
Making it clear that this was a lesson that the showrunners didn't want these kids to question. But as comically offensive as this song is, it was far from the worst that the show had to offer.
It's time for our lecture.
My thing is, who the fuck watched it? Who watched it? Who used to watch this back in the day? But I need to know, because you need your ass beat, bro. Like, you need your ass beat. You said what?
In another episode, we're shown a musical number about Grandpa, who's portrayed as a scientist that's always busy working, though the song is really less about him and more about his love interest.
This was a hood classic in Australia. No. If this was, them niggas need their ass beat, bro. This is a hood classic in Australia. You know the fuck it was not.
A robot with long hair and nude female breasts. It's one of the most surreal things that I've ever seen on a kid's show, as this thing was clearly meant to be a portrayal of Grandpa's wife and women in general, likening them to robots. Though unlike the previous demeaning song, this number is blatantly perverted, as it not only shows the robot having breasts, but it also shows Grandpa fondling them as well. And these perversions weren't even exclusive.
Here we
to
go
its
with the
imagery.
weird shit. Here we go with the weird shit.
It's shocking for so many reasons, but mainly due to the fact that this was on a show that was literally made for toddlers and young children, who are now being shown this clearly explicit content. And most disturbing of all is the realization that this sexualized material was actually nothing new to the world of Life with Grandpa. Predating the puppets, there was a little-known illustrated book series called Life of Grandpa, with the show practically being a shot-for-shot remake of this book series, featuring the same exact characters and stories. And much like the show, the series was also a religious guide created for children. And
looking at me like I made the show. You probably did, Jeremiah. I ain't gonna lie. You probably did. You probably was the co-host of this show.
Themes about morality and lessons made to guide you towards a proper way of living through this religion. But these books also had a very apparent dark side. One far worse than the show it inspired. In the chapter Real Fathers, we're shown a scene where Techi and Davidito question why they have two different skin colors, despite them being siblings, as Techi noticed that Davidito's skin appeared light brown, while hers was almost pure white, to which Grandpa then explains to them how his wife and their mother had slept with other men. See, God used Timothy and Carlos only to fuck Mama so that I could have you both. They were just like an instrument or tool that Jesus used to help create you wonderful little children for his
Bro, hell no.
Praise the Lord.
This nigga sharing the he doing the Adam 22. No, this nigga doing the Adam 22. Nigga shared, bro, that's not his real fucking little kids. His kids. Whatever.
Timothy and Carlos almost pure white, to which Grandpa then explains to them how his wife and their mother had slept with other men. See, God used Timothy and Carlos only to fuck Mama so that I could have you both. They were just like an instrument or tool that Jesus used to help create you wonderful little children for his kingdom. Praise the Lord. This was followed by an in-depth explanation of what that scene looked like, including images depicting the act.
What the fuck? Bro, what the fuck? Bro, hell no, bro, hell no. Hell no, bro, I ain't even realize what, bro, no, bro. Jeremiah, what you coming reacted to, bro? Bro, this nigga got his dick off. Can you see that shit, bro?
An in-depth explanation of what that scene looked like, including images depicting the act.
Plow. It got the sound effect. What did it say? A penis is a plow, and a woman's womb is a furrow, and which the man plants to see. It's showing that. Oh my god! This was aired. They told me this was aired on live television back in the day. What the fuck?
Examples like this are prevalent all throughout the pages of Life with Grandpa, with erotic material being shown constantly with no regard as to how inappropriate this is to be showing kids.
That's an old
which begs
ass
the obvious
man.
question. Why? Why was Life with Grandpa so blatantly perverted? Well, the answer lies with the author of the books, and the reason for the show's existence. David Berg.
He shall send his angels with
David
the sound of a
Berg.
trumpet,
Who is it? He need to get his ass beat. I ain't gonna.
That's when Jesus.
You need to get your ass beat. He the nigga. Ain't he the grandpa? Ugly ass. Nigga look like who Uncle Ruckus trying to be. Nigga like Uncle Ruckus if he was white.
Born in 1919, David grew up a devout believer in
This
Christianity, but wanted something more from the
This nigga is who Uncle Ruckus want to be. This nigga right here.
religion. He dreamed of one day starting his own group with his own teachings, and in 1968, at the ripe age of 50, he decided it was time to do just that. The group began in Huntington Beach, California, and went by many names over the years, like Teens for Christ, the Children of God, the Family of Love, the Family International, or just the Family. But regardless of its name, there was no denying what this group was. A cult. A cult led by David Berg. Berg would find young hippies and those struggling with drug addiction and mental health issues, and convince them to join his group by stating that the end of the world was coming soon, and that they needed to follow in his path and join his family to save their souls. It was pretty standard cult ideology, but at the time it was extremely effective, with the sect amassing a staggering 10,000 members at its peak, and at first, David got by with fairly standard teachings from the Bible, although this wouldn't last. After some time, Berg began addressing his followers via frequent illustrated messages called Mo letters that featured his ramblings and teachings from the time, with Berg slowly ingraining into his members that the contents of these letters should be taken as seriously, if not more so, than the Bible. In one of these letters sent out in 1972, Berg claimed that God was going to destroy the United States and that the group needed to flee the country immediately, with Berg demanding that his followers spread out all across the globe and open up communal homes where members could live as one, far away from the public eye. As a result, many members packed up their things and left right away, leading to roughly 130 communities being established across 70 different countries, essentially overnight. This mass migration had an extremely significant impact on the family, as it left practically the entire—
This nigga think he King Tut or something. Like, nigga, what you... Bro, y'all niggas, they just following, bro. Like, I wouldn't even fall for this nigga bullshit. I just slap fly this nigga.
Group outside of the United States, and more importantly, outside of the United States jurisdiction, meaning that Berg can now get away with far more than he used to. And unsurprisingly, this is where he began to tighten his control.
We going this way. Like, no, nigga. It's not going like that.
The full-time members were made to give up all of their earthly possessions to the group and cease all contact with their family and friends who were non-believers, cutting them off from the outside world completely. And these restrictions also applied to the media they consumed.
I decided I would limit how much I would watch the TV. Cause now I've got the answer. It's the slave. I'm the master. It no longer has a spell on me.
In his teachings, Berg denounced all forms of entertainment made outside of the cult, since he believed that this would poison the minds of his members and potentially sway them into leaving the group. And so, instead, he insisted that his followers only consume media that was produced directly by the family, with these works often being created by Berg himself or the other followers he enlisted, and then shipped directly to the members' homes, leading to hundreds if not thousands of videos, movies, and TV shows being produced and shared among the family. But for Berg, this wasn't just about providing entertainment. It was really all about controlling the minds of his group, and even more importantly, indoctrination, with his primary targets being children. From birth, most kids were not shown any media other than what the cult gave their parents, with these works quite literally shaping their minds into following everything that the cult believed in without question. The main themes of these were usually things like always be happy,
more than 70 little muscles form a rowdy face,
but only 14 muscles put a smile in its place on your face.
always show love, and never, under any circumstances, question your parents.
Always best to do it 'cause Daddy said so. Do it 'cause Daddy said so. Do it 'cause Daddy said so. Trust, obey, and do it 'cause Daddy said so. Do it 'cause Daddy.
Hell to the fuck no. Look what doll in the background, bro. Hell no, nigga. Look at this. That's the actual Annabelle doll, my nigga. Right here. If this was y'all niggas used to be watching back in the day, bro, y'all need y'all ass beat.
Because Daddy knows best.
And Life with Grandpa was no exception, as it too was created by the family in order to instill their beliefs into its child viewers, with the line trust and obey being hammered home time and time again, as those creating the programs didn't want their kids questioning any of the practices, and so they were teaching them to simply smile along and trust the adults. But because the group was the one producing and distributing the content, they basically had no regulations based on them, meaning that they could include whatever they want in these shows without any repercussions, leading to many of the showrunners exploring some of the group's more controversial beliefs, which becomes extremely troublesome when you realize that the
nigga Jeremiah finna had them sleeper asses thing. He go, but I couldn't get up, bro. I was just laying there. They gonna be he gonna be a damn Jeremiah. What's gonna be next? What's gonna be at your bed next? First it was a nigga. We said it was a nigga with claws or something.
family wasn't just your standard cult.
It's gonna be that grandpa nigga at his door.
And instead, it was a sex cult.
When you think of Adam and Eve in the garden.
A what cult? I beg your fucking pardon. Hold on. I beg your fucking pardon.
The family wasn't just your standard cult, and instead, it was a sex cult.
What is this P. Diddy ass show, bro?
Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. What are you thinking about? You think about a beautiful naked man and a beautiful naked woman. And what is the first thing that a beautiful naked man and a beautiful naked woman would, of course, naturally do as soon as they saw each other? And
Somebody you can get their uncle,
I think
bro.
just one look was all it took.
David Berg was a deeply perverted man. The idea of sex consumed him and seeped its way into essentially all of his teachings.
I think Adam and Eve are over there behind those bushes right now, busy making, not pina colada, I think they're making some other kind of juices.
And once his followers were outside of the US, he began to preach something he called the law of love, which essentially said that the family should be showing all people love, and that love should come in the form of sex.
I practice what I preach, and I preach sex, boys and girls, hallelujah.
And so he told his followers to open up their relationship.
And 836 boys. Nigga talking. Why this nigga sound like that? And 836 boys. I knew.
Should come in the form of sex.
I practice what I preach, and I preach sex, boys and girls,
boys.
Hallelujah.
And so he told his followers to open up their relationships to outsiders, calling the practice sharing, as you were made to
bro,
share.
So this nigga, he doing the Adam 22 like I said. He's sharing. Like, nigga, you was a nasty nigga, bro. Don't say, I bet this nigga had a whole bunch of damn bumps on his lip and tongue.
Your partner in the hopes of enticing new people to join the group. But he wasn't satisfied with just this, and instead he began to mandate that the women of the group participate in something he called flirty fishing. Also known as FF, flirty fishing describes the practice of women going into bars at night in order to pick up lonely men, who they would then entertain for the night. The goal of this was to convince these men to join the family, though more realistically, the goal was also to make money, as they were made to charge for their services, with the women being told to seek lonely businessmen. And this is something that Berg not only pushed heavily, but outright mandated, insisting that every woman in the group do this or face being removed from the family, even those who were married. And Berg was so serious about this that he sent every colony report forms so that they could report how much flirty fishing was being done, in order to check their statistics and make sure that they were up to par. Understandably, many women of the group were concerned by this, and wanted nothing to do with it. However, most of them had moved all the way across the world, and sacrificed all of their belongings to be in this group, meaning that their removal would leave them with nothing. They were trapped. Simply put, Berg was forcing the women of the group into prostitution, and he was shameless about it too, calling them God's whores and Christ's hookers. The worst of all, Berg knew that flirty fishing could put these women in grave danger, as he admitted to them that violent assaults were going to happen, but he said that if you want to live, simply don't resist. And if you do get hurt or even killed, that's entirely your fault, as after all, it was God's will. And this was on top of a myriad of other horrific things that Berg said that I can't even repeat here. But the man saying all of these—
So this where did he get this shit from him? But what year it was, 1981 or something? This nigga, he freaky as hell. Cause this nigga over there talking about but the kids can get some, damn babies can get some. Like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with this nigga?
Horrific Things was the same man who wrote Life with Grandpa, and he used this medium to normalize his sex cult's beliefs for the children watching, which gives more context as to why women were portrayed in the way they were in these books and the show, as Life with Grandpa was breaking down the young girls watching and grooming them for a life of prostitution that they were made to accept without question.
Trust and obey, for there's no other way. Trust and obey.
Though the show wasn't only for preparing the kids for the perverse lifestyles they were headed for, and instead, they were already becoming well accustomed to it. Throughout his Mo letters, Berg also began to preach that children should be involved in these affairs and sharing as well.
Do you see what the fuck I'm talking about? He said kids should be involved with this. Like, bro, no. This is where R. Kelly and these niggas get this shit from. This nigga. That's why these niggas marrying 13-year-olds and stuff. This nigga right here.
Throughout his Mo letters,
over there pushing 58. Like, nigga, she 13. Like, you doing too much, bro. Nigga be over there. Dude, who that is? Nigga, she's 13. Nigga pushing damn 50. You ordered. Damn, who was that? I'm about to go ask her for a dance. Nigga, she 13. First of all, what the fuck a 13-year-old doing at the club in the first place? That's what I'm saying, bro. That's where these niggas get this shit from, this nigga.
Berg also began to preach that children should be involved in these affairs and sharing as well, stating that he believed age should have nothing to do with it. In fact, he believed that
age shouldn't have nothing to do with it. You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about?
Children should be taught about this lifestyle essentially as soon as they're born. And although, again,
as soon as they're born. It's a perfectly normal appetite. What is you oh, hell no, bro. I don't think I can react to this shit. It's like any other appetite. Why did the Lord make you able to have children at the age of 11, 12, or 13 if you weren't supposed to have, bro? Ain't no fucking 11-year-old should not be with no fucking nigga that's 20 years old and up. That's weird. Your ass is freaked out, but you need to go see somebody. You need to go see a psychiatrist. You need to go see somebody, my nigga. Your ass is freaky as hell.
Can't read his exact words.
R. Kelly ain't even go that damn young.
Words on this. Berg had declared open season on pedophilia, and much like flirty fishing, it was mandatory. The abuse that followed is unimaginable, at a scale far too large.
Like, did they do something to them babies right there? Y'all letting them hold y'all kids. She gonna do something to them.
This day, abuse that the parents of the children not only allowed, but often participated in, with one of the more notorious large-scale accounts coming from something that the group called the Love Video. This movie was a result of Berg sending out requests to all of the parents to send him lewd videos of their children dancing, which he not
Bro,
only
this nigga's weird, Caleb. This nigga is weird. This nigga said, but they said he had parents send them nude pictures of their babies and kids to him. Yes, the white nigga with the beard. This nigga is freaked out, bro. Something wrong with this nigga, bro. Is he in jail? Where he at now, bro?
For himself, but packaged together into a long-form compilation video that was then distributed to all of the cult's members, encouraging the others to film similar content, with Berg going as far as creating a guide to help create the perfect video. And not only did many parents go along with this, but many clearly enjoyed it.
As hell.
Kita shared with us the video that just came from World Services, and it was so inspiring.
Look at this
so
Jeffrey
beautiful.
Dahmer ass nigga.
Why
he in the back?
For this couple specifically, this wasn't the only order that they were happily following.
And it was really a blessing, too, for Joe and Hobo, because they had a good chance to share also with Sally. And so the
They
lowest
shared
man-
her, and she laughing like it's okay. Like you just got your shit just ran through by all these niggas, bro. Oh, I'm saying this nigga over here going into babies and shit. Nigga everybody said, "I'm going into babies." Like, bro, he dead ass. This nigga actually is going into babies. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like, bro.
really setting us free.
Like, this nigga actually going into babies. How fucking nasty are you, bro?
Freer to obey and to be free and to show that sample of freedom and love to the world.
Trust and obey. It's chapters to this shit. That's how you know this nigga free.
Life with Grandpa was literally created to indoctrinate kids into a pedophilic sex cult, and it makes you realize why exactly it and so many other of the cult's programs were hammering home this point of not questioning your parents or any adults, and to simply obey and smile.
So the right thing is
To obey.
Because the adults in their lives were now suddenly doing unimaginable things to them, and they were being groomed not to question it, making some of the show's segments horrendous in hindsight.
One very special.
Bro. So that was the backstory he was telling, like, about the nigga. So on this show, with the puppets and shit, the kid puppets was doing it with the adult puppets, bro. Like, this nigga got final boss level of free. Like, this nigga is weird, bro. So I'm guessing the final boss is like towards the damn 40-minute mark. This video is 42 fucking minutes, bro.
Special way you can show the big people that you love them is by giving them lots of hugs, kisses, and cuddles. Oh. A child's love and
You said what? Yeah, we 22 minutes in. Only got 20 minutes left.
affection really encourages and inspires the big people.
It was normalizing their abuse, and because of this, many children never questioned the horrible assaults that they endured. Assaults that were all fueled and pushed by David Berg's sick perversions.
God created boys and girls able to have.
Look at this nigga. He looked like a final boss. Like a final. He like the nigga. He like a nigga. Then you go to Taco Bell, right? He order his food, and then you see him just staring at you. Then you go use the bathroom. Then out of nowhere, you go in the bathroom. You hear the door open. Like you go in the store, you use the bathroom. You sit on the toilet, use the bathroom. Then you hear the fucking bathroom door open. Then you see his footsteps in front of your store. Then it turn to your store. And then out of nowhere, this nigga just stick his head under. He one of them type of niggas. That is one of them type of niggas he is. He just a freak ass nigga, bro.
Which were far from theoretical, as Berg himself allegedly partook in this practice repeatedly with his own children and stepchildren, as incest was also a key point of his teachings, and his adult followers rarely dared to question this, as those who refused to partake in Berg's latest teachings were again at risk of removal from the group, which is even more devastating for those who had children, as much like all of their possessions, their kids were pledged and belonged to the family. And the kids themselves couldn't seek help either, as those that refused to trust and obey were sent away to actual prison camps owned by the cult until they were basically reprogrammed.
They made camps. I was sent with my brother to the Philippines. We had armed guards from the Filipino military keeping us in. They would publicly...
Bro, these niggas actually had a prison for the kids that ain't want to do that shit. What the fuck? I would have killed this nigga, bro. I ain't gonna lie. If I were one of them damn kids, that's why I said it's a difference between the kids now and then like damn, like them niggas they was dumb as hell. Now the nigga would have been Swiss cheese, this bitch ass.
Then tried to break you and get you to confess.
And the group continuously got away with this too, thanks in large part to Berg's orchestration of the group leaving the United States, which looking back was almost certainly done on purpose. Plus, many members were actually living in hiding. In fact, all of the members were made to change their names upon joining the group, and most were told to never give out their last names, meaning that if any child wanted to report that it happened to them, they would be unable to provide even the names of their abusers. And this included Berg too,
They done
who at
probably
this
got
point
her
lived
too.
most of his life in hiding, going by numerous aliases to avoid detection. Aliases like King, Moses, Mo, Dad, and eventually Grandpa.
This the final boss right here? I'm guessing this the final boss.
The entire show was about him, David Berg, which is why he was shown as a wise, unquestioned religious-like figure who the children were made to look up to. And that wasn't all, as the characters shown alongside Berg were also members of his real-life family that lived with him in a remote commune. Mother Maria was the nickname of Karen Zerby, David's wife who helped him run the cult and facilitate this era of hypersexualization, while Aunt Sarah was based on Sarah Kelly, the woman in charge of running the prison camp made to punish the kids who dared question the family's beliefs.
Sarah Kelly, who was responsible.
Like, I would have knocked her ass out, bro. I swear to God. Y'all niggas just soft as hell, bro.
Well, in the Philippines.
But the most grotesque detail to come from the revelation of who these characters are was that it showcased David Berg's polygamy, as he was actually married to many people in the real world, and two characters on the show itself, Mother Maria and Davida, his then 5-year-old stepdaughter.
What the fuck? I'm off this shit, bro. Hell no. I hope this nigga. I don't wish death on nobody. I don't do this shit, but I hope this nigga is gone somewhere, bro. I hope this nigga is dead somewhere. And where this nigga grave at so I kick that bitch down, bro. Cause this shit is unacceptable, bro. I don't wish jail or death on nobody, but this nigga need to go to one of those places.
Davida would eventually go on to tell her story, stating that she had been Berg's child bride.
He need to get his ass beat.
And there was a ceremony with the ring and everything. And once I turned 5 years old was when I was implicated into being one of his queens, so to speak.
Along with allegations that she had been victimized by him countless times. And she wasn't the only victim of Berg's perversion.
So all the females that's interviewed, that's the one he did it to, bro. Oh my God. This nigga is sick. He need to get his ass beat, bro.
Techi was often sexualized by Berg publicly, with Berg having stories made and illustrated depicting his fantasies about her.
Bro, Caleb, every female you see on her, he did it to every single one of them, bro.
This, numerous people within the group also claim that she had been outright assaulted by the hands of Berg, as well as many others in the group.
And look at our pretty...
Yes!
Girls today. You're dressed in such nice dresses and your hair looks so nice. Yes, you look so pretty for all the children that are watching today.
The context of who these characters are makes this already disturbing show that much more sickening. But of all of the horrible stories to come from the real-life characters of Life with Grandpa, there's one that is far and away the most horrific. The story of Davidito.
David is such a handsome boy, isn't he, girls? Would you like for David to share some more lessons?
Yes, Grandpa.
Are you all ready? Okay, David, you have the floor.
His real name was Ricky Rodriguez, and as a baby, he was taken in as Berg's son.
Look at this nigga. Well, why you laid up on the bed? I want to get this nigga my damn kid to take a picture of that. This nigga on the bed. He in the bed with the boy. Like, bro, what the fuck? I don't know, but he got him on the bed, bro. Like, bro. Where this nigga at? I need to find out what this nigga at, bro. If he ain't, bro. Like I said, I don't wish shit on nobody like this, but this nigga, he need to be at one of those fucking places.
Maria conceiving him with...
He need to be in solitary confinement. Nah, fuck solitary confinement. He need to be in jail with them big niggas. So they can beat the shit out of his ass. Or he need to be 6 feet deep, my nigga.
with a man after a night of flirty fishing. And being David's first son, he was given the nickname Davidito. As for David Berg, he viewed this child as essentially a messiah. He began telling his followers that Davidito would one day save them from the apocalypse, causing Davidito to become a celebrity within the group, and worshipped as a religious figure when he was just a baby. Which explains why he was given so much airtime during Life with Grandpa, and why he was constantly being showered with gifts.
We want to give you a little surprise because you were such a good witness.
And for David and Karen, they wanted Davidito's life and childhood to be a guide for all members of the group, as they raised him in what they believed to be the perfect manner for a godly household. And so the couple and several other contributors documented the way he was raised, with daily journal entries that were published as weekly newsletters, and eventually turned into one massive book titled The Story of Davidito. And the family truly believed that this over 700-page book was the ultimate guide for parenting and showed the only proper way to raise a child. Though what it actually showed was just how badly Davidito was being abused. Davidito is described laying next to his nude nannies, witnessing orgies involving his own mother, and being touched sexually by the adults around him, with these examples being presented through not only written stories, but actual photographs, with the adults involved having their faces removed and drawings placed over the top of them in order to hide their identities. The book was not only promoting acts with children, but it was outright showing it, and showing have a daily journal entry of all the abuse that this child suffered, starting when he was an infant. Despite all the heinous acts that had been going on within the family, they had up until this point gone virtually unchecked by the public eye, but the story of Davidito would prove to be the first domino to fall, as the book leaked to the press.
Tonight, the cult Children of God, founded by Moses David Berg, he reportedly sanctioned sex among children.
This immediately became a news story all across the world, and it began shining a light on the family and its twisted beliefs. But despite all the constant news coverage, and the story of Davidito being tangible proof of the cult's horrible practices, there was still essentially nothing done to stop them, as very few arrests were ever made as a result, and even fewer resulted in convictions. So nothing was ever done to help Davidito. And so during his entire childhood and his early adult years, he stayed with the group. Though the older he got, the more he began to see the family for what they really were, and the constant pain that he was experiencing eventually made him want to just run away from it all. And so, in 1999...
Like, your dad was on this freak shit, and he made you seem like you was the next damn messiah. Like, I know, like, this nigga is the son of a fucking freak. Like, this nigga was the final boss freak. This nigga, I never thought I'd say a nigga worse than Diddy. This nigga is worse than Diddy, bro. At least Diddy wanted to get no damn babies and none of that shit.
That's exactly what he did, fleeing to the United
States. That nigga actually had getting babies, Caleb.
United States in the hopes of starting a new life, though this was easier said than done, and no amount of distance was enough to keep him away from his tortured past. At one point during his time in the United States, Ricky actually opened up about the struggles he was experiencing on a website made for survivors of the family, and there he documented just how bad things really were for him and several others behind the scenes, living with Berg, appropriately titling the post, Life with Grandpa. It was apparent that he was haunted by this life that he tried to escape, as the trauma was an everyday cycle of hell, and he just couldn't take it anymore.
Do you know that sometimes the Lord likes to test our faith, to teach us patience, and to really make us pray? This is just what happened to me once.
Well, hey everyone.
And this is him.
I want people to know that even though some of the things that I'm going to try to do are rather shocking and maybe not right in a lot of people's books, I want to explain some of the reasons behind them.
On January 7th, 2005, Ricky Rodriguez set up a video camera in his apartment and expressed his desire to kill his mother and other leaders of the group for all the dreadful things that they had done not only to him, but to all the other children, with his hope being that this would finally bring down the family once and for all.
My goal is to get those sick bucks, Mom and Peter, and, you know, then I can go to the next life knowing that, that I made a difference.
with Ricky going as far as to show off the various ways that he planned on torturing them.
I'm gonna have to make do. I got my drill here. Got lots of fucking duct tape.
God knows. He hears. He cares. He loves his girls and boys. He gives his very best to
Boy,
those
this nigga's
who
a
let
menace.
him choose the toy.
Nigga, he got a whole GTA slot of weapons, my nigga.
By this point,
His son trying to kill his ass.
Dead for years, though the family carried on with his mother, Karen Zerby, assuming full control.
What?
Toys.
By this point, David Berg had been dead for years, though the family...
He dead? Thank you. Like, this shit fucked up to say, but thank you, bro. He dead. He dead, Caleb. He's dead. He's dead. I'm glad. Fuck that bitch ass nigga. You a fucking freak ass nigga. And I hope, bro, this nigga burned like a motherfucker. Nigga, no, he fuck that burning, nigga. Your ass is in darkness, nigga. You ain't even burning, nigga. You in darkness. So bitch ass. Oh ass nigga.
Don with his mother, Karen Zerby, assuming full control, which explains why she was the primary target. And much like Berg, Karen spent most of her life in hiding, with Ricky being unable to track her down.
There's something wrong to get the wife too. She need to get her ass whooped too. Cause she order getting shared and sharing nigga babies and shit too. She need to get your ass beat too. She's still alive.
Though he was able to find Angela Smith, one of the nannies responsible for raising him, as well as one of his most prominent abusers, as she was even shown in the story of Davidito assaulting him. At this point, Ricky was exhausted, and Angela was his last shot at getting intel to help him find his mother and finally carry through on his plans. And so, he invited her over for dinner, under the guise of rejoining the group.
I went home that night and tried to wait patiently for the next day. But the Lord still had more lessons that he wanted to teach me. This is what happened.
Before Ricky could even get the information he was looking for, something in him snapped, and midway through their conversation, Ricky grabbed a knife and stabbed Karen in the arm, and then slit her throat.
Damn, he killed her. So he killed one of the founders of the shit.
He fled the area that night, driving for hours until he reached California, the place that years before David Berg had started the family. There, he called his ex-wife, professing to everything he did, saying that he did it mainly for his sister Techi, but he felt no better. In fact, he felt worse. And even looking back at the video, it's very obvious that this was something that Ricky didn't truly want to do, and instead he felt like he had to do it, to avenge everyone that the family had hurt.
I'm not trained. I don't know how to fucking do this. I don't even want to fucking do this. God damn it.
And it was too late to take back what he did. And so he stopped the car in a dark parking lot, sat there for a moment thinking about everything that had happened during his painful life, and ended his suffering once and for all.
He killed himself.
In a way, that's what these fuckers have done to us.
And GTA.
Grab a knife and cut us up, but man, they sure fucked up our brains. That's the way it was at Grandpa and Mama's house. Literally or figuratively, they're going down. With that happy thought, I shall leave you.
Damn.
Ricky Rodriguez's death was devastating for the community of survivors of the family, and it caused shockwaves all throughout the family itself, as his final video was plastered all over the news. And though it didn't happen in the way he expected it or wanted it to, Ricky's life and death undoubtedly contributed to the decline of the family, and helped diminish the cycle of abuse within the group. Starting from the story of Davidito, the public pressure forced Berg to outlaw the widespread abuse that he once preached. And though it is believed that it never really came to an end, it was at the very least significantly reduced. And by the time the news began to cover Ricky's death, it proved to be the final wake-up call for many still within the group, as they finally began to see through the facade that had once controlled their lives.
Like Grandpa says, prayer is powerful. When we pray, things will happen and things will be different.
It's difficult to watch any of Life with Grandpa, knowing its history, its purpose, and the real people that it was inspired by.
This shit is
So as soon as
sick.
the media began taking notice of the cult, many members were made to purge the media that was sent to them that may be considered incriminating. And as a result, it appears that most of Life with Grandpa is missing to this day, and potentially destroyed forever. Currently, only 4 episodes have been recovered, and it's not even known how many
They
more
should
were
recover
released, or
shit.
even what year the show
We're
started. or
recovering these
ended.
episodes.
But considering
Y'all
how
niggas
closely
sick as
the
hell,
show
bro.
mirrored the book, it's possible that these potentially missing
let me
and
see.
destroyed episodes are much worse than the ones we have today. But despite not knowing the full extent of the show, it's clear that Life with Grandpa and the countless other programs that the family made did exactly what they wanted them to. They brainwashed an entire generation of the cult's children, and the effects were devastating.
But they become extremely agitated when we ask them about Moses David Berg's teachings on sex.
My Little Fish. Now, your father described that as a routine publication.
They're not having sex, they're just kissing and hugging in bed. That's not sex.
If you show it to other people, they don't understand. That stuff's not supposed to be publicized. So many people think sex is wrong. So many people hate us. But we just telling them the truth. We're just telling them it's not wrong. We're just telling them that there's nothing wrong with it. And here come these publicizers doing them to everybody.
Between the strange content from the program itself, its obvious attempts at indoctrinating kids into a cult that was only ever going to harm them, the real-life people behind the characters, and the fact that this propaganda was so effective, I have no doubt that Life with Grandpa is the darkest children's show that I've ever come across.
This was a children's fucking show.
So shockingly,
you gotta think about
there's
that
somehow
shit.
one more layer to the story that makes this program even more disturbing.
What?
And now, here's the exciting ending to this story.
One thing that we haven't discussed yet is who was actually the one behind the creation of the show. There's no doubt that it's David Berg's stories and was probably done at his request, but who is the one actually making it? Well, unfortunately, most of the people who worked on the show have their identities hidden by only using their first names, or even using straight-up aliases, so I could hardly find any information on any of them, with the exception of one: Peter Puppet. Peter Puppet was sort of a celebrity within the group.
Nah,
being
he
responsible
looks
for
sick. Look at
numerous
this
puppet
nigga
shows,
teeth.
including one called The Lovettes, which was actually far more popular than Life with Grandpa, and was even supposedly broadcast on TV in the Philippines, with the show being a disturbing rabbit hole in its own right.
Would you like to hear a story? Well then, let's go see Grandpa in the garden. Hello, children. So nice of you to visit us in the garden today.
But Peter Puppet owned this group, and was in charge of the Lovettes team, and coincidentally, the Lovettes just so happened to be credited as the producers of Life with Grandpa. So Peter Puppet was, at the very least, one of the contributing creators of the show. And he also seems to be the one in charge of performing the actual musical numbers on the show, as they featured puppets that belonged to Peter and the Lovettes team, with these segments interestingly being credited to an unknown man named Peter Pioneer.
We have a beautiful song from Peter Pioneer.
It's not a concrete link, but it's clear that Peter Puppet had a role in the show's creation, and helped push the family's disturbed ideology onto hundreds of kids across the globe. But during the creation of Life with Grandpa, it seems his own beliefs were being tested. In the beginning of the video, we saw an example of the family's view on doctors.
Surely a doctor would have stitched it, but our God is still a God of miracles. Praise the Lord.
This sentiment was really common in the family,
This
as Berg
damn
outright
TV
forbade
show
any
was
medicine or
sick as
surgeries
fuck,
of any
bro.
kind, instead preaching that miracles from God were the only way to heal. And because of this, many members of the family with chronic ailments or fatal illnesses were basically left to die, and one of those left suffering was Peter Puppet. His life is almost entirely a mystery, as he lived in hiding in one of the family's compounds, but according to some of the group's members, one day he noticed something in his neck, a small lump, and over the next few weeks and months it began to slowly get bigger and bigger. to
That's
the
what
point
your
that
ass
Peter had
get.
to go visit a doctor in order to see what was wrong.
They got a
And it
tumor
was
in
there
his
he
neck.
learned the family's beliefs, and so he turned it down, instead opting to go back to the compound to pray the tumor away with the other members. This, however, never. Instead, the mass began to grow at an even faster rate, to the point that those around him could notice it, eventually leading to Peter hiding away in his room, away from the others, not wanting to be seen. However, at some point during his struggle, a photograph was taken, showing the entire compound he was living with. And in the background, we see Peter, whose neck is and possibly large.
That's what his ass
From
get
here, it's said that Peter began to beg the family
for
to
making
take
this
him to get
freaky
the
ass
surgery,
show
as
with the
tumor was
niggas,
quite
with
literally
Uncle
suffocating
Freak.
him slowly, turning him
Your ass
against the very
deserve
beliefs that he once
you
forged.
deserve every bad thing that happened to your ass. You deserve every single last one of this shit that's happening to your ass, bro.
On so many children over
Cause
the
you
years,
freaked the fuck
but
out,
the
bro.
family forbade it, insisting that he wait for a miracle that was never going to come. With nowhere else to turn, Peter Puppet supposedly ended his own life shortly after this photograph was taken, adding the final pillar of context to Life with Grandpa.
Now
Now
you finna be with Uncle Freak now.
Can only be
since you want to help him make that show. So the nigga that you seen with the lump, Caleb, that's the nigga that made the show, like edited it, like put it on the fucking thing. He the one that like directed it and did all that other shit. His ass. So he deserved every motherfucking thing that happened to his ass.
described
Should have been a damn tumor in his damn face, so it should have pop up.
as the darkest children's show ever created.
We've got to go now. Let's wave bye-bye, kids. God bless you. Come on, say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Is that it, bro? That's it, bro.